The ancient Greeks believed that every virtue came with a price. Great strength was balanced with a hidden vulnerability. If your gift was seeing the future, your curse might be that no one would believe you. The Greeks would have understood Spencer Tracy, a man blessed with an incredible gift and yet tormented from within. It was almost as if there were two Spencer Tracys. There was the talented, magnanimous Tracy. In his personal life, he could be charming, witty, and surprisingly generous. And in his chosen profession of acting, he was considered peerless. And then there was the melancholy Tracy, witnessed often by Clark Gable, who said of his friend, "I got as close to him as anybody could. It was like he had a curtain inside. He was a guy with a lot of things bothering him, but he never lifted that curtain to let me know what was bugging him." Spencer Tracy was a complex man. All of the talent and emotion that swirled within him often made his life an uneasy one. But it also helped to make him, in Sir Laurence Olivier's words, the greatest living screen actor he had ever seen.
I referred to the battle and the clash in a motion picture film known as Inherit the Wind. Now, the protagonists or antagonists in this battle are Spencer Tracy and Frederick March, both two-time winners of the Academy Award.
God speaks to Brady, and Brady tells the world. Brady, Brady, Brady Almighty!
The Lord is my strength.
I object, I object, I object.
On what grounds? Is it possible that something is holy to the celebrated agnostic?
Yes. The individual human mind.
They are the generations of the holy men and women of the Bible.
How'd they go about all this begetting?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, did they begat in much the same way as folks get themselves begat today?
Process is about the same. I don't think your scientists have improved it any.
You'll win no victories here.
I've been a lawyer long enough to know there are no total victories anywhere.
There's only one man in this town who thinks it all, and he's in jail.
That's why I'm here.
Inherit the Wind makes news everywhere. London, celebrities arrive for the world premiere. Producer Stanley Kramer arrives. Gregory Peck. Filmmakers Otto Preminger and Walter Wanger. Gene Kelly, co-star of Inherit the Wind. And Jeff Chandler. Berlin. Inherit the Wind electrifies the Berlin Film Festival. Record throngs turn out, and a gala list of celebrities and dignitaries, headed by Berlin's mayor, Willy Brandt. Inherit the Wind becomes the first picture ever to win 2 awards at the festival. A coveted Silver Bear Award presented to Stanley Kramer by Harold Lloyd, chairman of the festival jury. And a special youth award for the best picture voted by teenagers all over the country. For its brilliant performances and dramatic power, unprecedented acclaim for Inherit the Wind.
Oh, God speaks to you?
Yes.
He tells you what is right and wrong?
Yes.
And you act accordingly?
Yes.
So you, Matthew Harrison Brady, through oratory or legislature or whatever, you pass on God's orders to the rest of the world. Well, meet the prophet from Nebraska. Is that the way of things? Is that the way of things?
The winner, you'll have to make that decision for yourselves when you see Inherit the Wind. But I would promise you an experience in screen performance beyond anything you have ever seen.
Spencer Tracy was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, April the 5th, 1900. The drinking problems that would be with him throughout his life could at least partially be traced to Tracy's father, a hard-nosed Irishman who was no stranger to the bottle himself. As a kid, Spencer was a troublemaker of the highest order. He was constantly expelled from school and once set fire to his family home after an argument with his father. But the kid was a natural performer, too. Spencer would put on shows in the family's basement for neighborhood kids, imitating much of what he saw from the early silent movies. Not surprisingly, Tracy wound up becoming an actor. He met actress Louise Treadwell on a train to a stock company that they were both going to work for. The two were married in 1923, and the next year, Louise gave birth to their son, John. When the boy was only 10 months old, he was discovered to be deaf. Knowing his son would need the kind of special help that would require lots of money, Spencer pushed himself even harder to become a great actor. From the 1920s into the 30s, Tracy slowly evolved from theater actor to film star. In 1937, he turned in an Academy Award-winning performance in Captain's Courageous. The following year, he took on the role of Father Flanagan in Boys Town. Spencer carried inside himself enormous guilt at disappointing his father and not becoming a Catholic priest. He let his guilt and the passion he felt for the church fuel one of his most memorable performances.
Boys Town is real. It is a drama greater than the imagination of Hollywood's best storytellers. 4,000 boys have passed through this city of little men. And now the drama, the laughter, the heartache and the triumph of all these boys is crystallized in the story of one young renegade who came from the back streets into conflict with the one man who could save him.
There. That's better.
I'm Father Flanagan. I saw your brother Joe just a little while ago. We had a long talk about you, Whitey. Joe wants you to come to Boys Town with me.
If you think you're gonna make a plowjacky out of me, you got another thing coming.
Now, look, Whitey, in a pinch, I can be tougher than you are, and I guess maybe this is the pinch. You're coming with me to Boys Town because that's the way your brother wants it.
Let's go.
Don't move. Clear away there. We're coming through, Father.
Tracy won another Oscar for his work in Boys Town, and many already thought him to be the best actor in Hollywood. But success didn't ease the pain he felt in life. Spencer constantly worried that he was a mere flash in the pan and that he would never work again. He would drink and become like a different person, going on tirades that would almost always end with him destroying whatever was handy. One MGM publicist later said Tracy might not have even lived through this era if he hadn't met Katharine Hepburn. The two met on the lot at MGM in 1942. Hepburn quaintly apologized for being so tall in her high heels next to the short Tracy. A friend of Spencer's quipped, "Don't worry, he'll cut you down to size." It was the perfect lead-in to one of the great romances in movie history, both on screen and off. Tracy had never met anyone quite like Katharine Hepburn. Intelligent, independent, and a natural rebel like himself. Their repartee in life was like their movies, intelligent banter punctuated by undeniable love. The two became involved around the time Spencer's wife Louise was founding a clinic to help deaf children like their son John. Tracy felt Louise needed to remain Mrs. Spencer Tracy to make a go of the clinic, and his belief in Catholicism further complicated any idea of divorcing her. But while he remained married to Louise in name, Hepburn became the true love of his life. Tracy's ways improved with Kate around, and the two made many wonderful films together. One of the best was the Battle of the Sexes comedy Adam's Rib, with the two playing married lawyers on the opposite side of a murder case.
Hello, all you pleasant people. This is a Smith named Pete, yapping at you about a Tracy named Spencer, and a Hepburn named Catherine, and a studio named Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. This studio, my friends, has made a whimsical filmsicle. What fancy talk. Anyway, it's a swell show named Adam's Rib, named Adam's Rib, named Adam's Rib, named Adam's Rib. Well, I guess it's named Adam's Rib. However, sprightly, brightly, and lightly, it tells a whacking good tale. And I do mean a whacking good tale. Besides its laughter, there's a lot of warmth and truth in Adam's Rib. But best of all, it's a happy picture. Spencer Tracy is happy. Catherine Hepburn is happy. And I am happy to tell you how happy you'll be when you see Adam's Rib. Thank you.
Don't you want your rub down? You want a drink? Want anything? What?
Oh! Now, look here, Kip. I'm fighting my prejudices. But it's clear that you're behaving like a... Well, I hate to put it this way, but like a man.
You watch your language.
This is basic. I'm old-fashioned. I like two sexes. And what is more, I suddenly don't like being married to what is known as a new woman. I want a wife, not a competitor. Competitor. If you want to be a big he-woman, go and be one, but not with me.
Anyway, it's a swell show named Adam's Rib, named Adam's Rib, named Adam's Rib, named Adam's Rib.
While Spencer could still occasionally suffer from bouts with depression, he had clearly entered one of the better times in his life. And Katharine Hepburn was much of the reason. Director George Cukor once said of the pair, "Though they were both extremely sophisticated people, he was like a boy with her, and she was like a little girl with him. She helped by distracting him from his drinking with love." Tracy was also busy moving from one hit to another. In 1950, Spencer played Elizabeth Taylor's harried father in another Tracy classic.
Think that marriages were simple affairs. Boy meets girl, fall in love, they get married, have babies. Eventually the babies grow up and meet other babies. They fall in love, get married, and have babies, so on and on.
I don't know how to explain, but a wedding, a church wedding, well, it's what every girl dreams of. A bridal dress, the orange blossoms, the music. It's something lovely to remember all the rest of her life. And something for us to remember, too.
It's my wedding and my
Ellie,
plans.
I don't understand. What did you mean by that?
Look, no one has to do anything. When the time comes, I'll do everything. I mean everything.
I wouldn't go to a wedding. Now, none of your babies.
Ellie, now look
Now,
here.
listen, I don't care if you do.
Fuck me! Now look here, young man. If you insist upon a church wedding, you can count me out. I wash my hands of the whole affair.
The late 1940s and early 50s found Spencer Tracy enjoying another peak period in his career. Other actors considered it an honor just to work with him. They studied the simplicity of his style, how much emotion he could convey with the simplest change of expression. Orson Welles once tried to convey the brilliance in Tracy's subtlety when he commented, "The camera is kind to some people, but with Spence, it was more of a symbiotic relationship between him and the camera. The lens picked up every emotion he played." The upswing in Tracy's life didn't mean he wasn't still at times a difficult actor to work with. In a key scene in the film Bad Day at Black Rock, Spencer enters a bar where a young Lee Marvin sits menacingly on edge. In take after take, Marvin was flipping the lid of his matchbook. Tracy finally halted the action and made clear that filming would not continue until Lee Marvin stopped what Spencer considered to be his attention-grabbing tricks. The movie, starring Tracy as a one-armed man accidentally stumbling onto a town's dark secret, is still considered a classic. And Spencer's performance is nothing short of riveting.
Towns like this in America, but one town like it is enough. And because I think something kind of bad happened here, something they can't quite seem to find a handle to.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I know this much. The rule of law has left here and the guerrillas have taken over.
Somebody's always looking for something in this part of the West. This place is our West, and I wish they'd leave us alone. I swear you're beginning to make me mad.
All strangers do.
No, they don't. No. Some do when they come around snooping.
Looking for what?
I don't know. Outsiders coming in looking for something.
Looking for what?
I don't know.
4 years ago, something terrible happened here. We did nothing about it. Nothing. Now something terrible's going to happen again. They're going to kill you with no hard feelings.
What does he say? Who is this guy anyway?
Never heard of him, that's what he says. He checked, there's no John J. McCready. No listing, no record, no information, nothing.
Nobody like McCready can raise a pretty big stink. The point is, who'd miss a nobody like McCready if he just, say, disappeared?
It'd be better if he went out there and got done with it. What can he find out?
This is liable to be the hardest $10 you ever earned in your life.
I suppose 4 years from now you'll be sitting around here telling people you haven't forgotten me either. That's real progress. In the meantime, I'll be as dead as a... Why don't you tell me what happened?
By the mid-1950s, Hollywood was changing. The whims of talented but temperamental actors were becoming too expensive a risk for a business threatened by the growing popularity of television. And few actors had a reputation for being more difficult than Spencer Tracy. Tracy was currently working on a film called Tribute to a Bad Man. As usual, Spencer was disappearing, then reappearing on the set, working apparently only when he felt like it. With the production in a constant state of chaos, director Robert Wise finally asked the studio to fire Tracy. They did, and the move ended Spencer's 2-decade-plus relationship with MGM. Tracy's career fell into decline. By 1959, the actor who had once starred in several movies a year was not working at all. Tracy's spirits and health deteriorated to a point that Katharine Hepburn gave up working almost entirely herself just to tend to her Spencer. It was director-producer Stanley Kramer who revived the aging actor's career, casting him in a series of roles that showed what tremendous talents Tracy still possessed. The first was Inherit the Wind, which pitted Spencer Tracy against Frederick March in a portrayal of the famous Scopes monkey trial. Next came Tracy judging Nazi war criminals in the 1961 film Judgment at Nuremberg. An ill and tired Spencer was ever a complete professional on the set, even helping Montgomery Clift, who was sick himself, struggle through his difficult role in the movie. The film is thought of today as one of the finest in Tracy's distinguished career.
Before the people of the world, let it now be noted that here in our decision, this is what we stand for. Justice, truth, and the value of a single human being.
Where were we? Where were we when Hitler began shrieking his hate in the Reichstag? Where were we when our neighbors were being dragged out in the middle of the night to Dachau? Where were we when they cried out in the night to us? Were we deaf? Dumb? Blind?
I'm gonna go the limit. And not you, not the Pentagon, not God on his throne is gonna make you do
Who do you think you're talking to? Who the hell do you think you're talking to?
My husband was a military man, all his life. He was entitled to a soldier's death. He asked for that. That he should be permitted the dignity of a firing squad. You know what happened. He was hanged with the others.
It is easy to condemn the German people, to speak of the basic flaw in the German character that allowed Hitler to rise to power, but at the same time, comfortably ignore the basic flaw of character that made the Russians sign pacts with him, Winston Churchill praise him, American despots profit by him.
There was nothing like you're trying to make it sound.
Did you sit on his lap?
Stop it! Stop it!
What else do you admit to, Mrs. Fowler? What else? Hello?
I want that you tell me, was she feeble-minded? My mother.
I feel it is my duty to point out to the tribunal that the witness is not in control of his mental processes.
I know I am not. Since that day, I've been half I've ever been.
After making another Stanley Kramer film, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, Tracy stopped making movies. He was feeling old and in poor health, and he knew his life was nearing its end. But the opportunity to work with his love Kate Hepburn again in another film directed by Stanley Kramer was too much for Spencer to pass up. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner was a film about a white woman falling in love with a black man, which was chancy material in 1967. But audiences responded not only to the story, but to the reteaming of Hepburn and Tracy as the young woman's parents. At one point in the movie, Tracy speaks of his love for Hepburn, his wife. When the scene was shot, Katharine burst into unrehearsed tears. Even the tough Spencer found his own eyes welling up. It was no longer just a movie. Spencer Tracy, still married to his wife Louise, was publicly proclaiming the secret love he had felt for Hepburn these last 25 years.
Starring Academy Award winner Spencer Tracy, Academy Award winner Sidney Poitier, Academy Award winner Katharine Hepburn. Introducing Katherine Houghton. 3 Academy Award winners and a bright young newcomer combine their talents in a love story of today.
I haven't even told you his name. Mom, it's John Wade Prentice. Isn't that a lovely name? John Wade. Joanna Prentice I'll be.
What the hell is going on here?
I love your daughter. There is nothing I wouldn't do to try to keep her as happy as she was the day I met her. But it seems to me, without your approval, we will make no sense at all. That is why I'm asking for the clearest possible statement of what your attitude is going to be.
I appreciate that, Doctor. It's almost in the form of an ultimatum.
Not quite, Mr. Drayton. All you have to say is goodbye.
Do you mean have we been to bed together? I don't mind your asking me that. We haven't. He wouldn't.
Until today, I would never have believed that I could say such a thing. But when she fights you, I'm going to be on her side.
But you don't own me. You can't tell me when or where I'm out of line, or try to get me to live my life according to your rules. Dad, you're my father. I'm your son. I love you. But you think of yourself as a colored man. I think of myself as a man.
That's the story of, that's the glory of
Tracy completed shooting Guess Who's Coming to Dinner on May 26, 1967. 15 days later, on June 10th, Spencer Tracy died, and the world mourned the loss of one of its greatest actors. Out of respect to Tracy's wife, Katharine Hepburn did not attend the funeral. But years later, she wrote a personal letter to Spencer that aired in a television tribute to the late actor. In it, she said to Tracy, "Are you happy finally? Is it a nice long rest you're having, making up for all your tossing and turning in life? Why, Spence? Why could you not sleep? Living wasn't easy for you, was it?" A famous psychiatrist once said that the main difference between neurotics and artists is that artists actually find a place to put most of their bewildering impulses. Perhaps in the end, Spencer Tracy should not be thought of as a man who failed to conquer his inner demons, but as a man who struggled with life and yet managed through talent, perseverance, and a very special love to leave us with a treasury of great emotion and great work.